And we are live.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning, everybody, in Europe at least.
Yes, or good noon. We're it's noon now.
It's noon. So, hi, I'm here with Ivy. Hello.
Hey, hi, Yasodhara. We're going to talk about sex.
Yeah.
What was the
So
title
maybe,
again? I
maybe I
already
should
forgot
just
it.
like present you, because like Ivy is like it's like on one side like a graphic wonder, but I also know you've been like really looking at a lot of sex and relationships and actually doing calls on that and videos on that to create a different reality. So I was like,
Yes.
let's invite her and let's have a little chat about this topic.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's like one of the things. I think like 5 years ago, I woke up in an abusive relationship, which was like literally that. Like I wasn't even aware that I was being abused till I had a session with Shannon O'Hara, and I was like, let's have a session with Shannon so I can fix me so this relationship could work. And she was the first one that said like, well, honey, you're talking the language of abusey, and the session was over in 10 minutes. That was everything I needed to know. And after that, I really made a commitment to have me in sex and relationships no matter what. And I made a commitment to not go into sex and relationship for quite some time till I could trust myself that I would choose what would create greater. And it took a couple of years. And it's still extrapolating. So how does it get any better than that?
Wow. And I'm just, maybe some people on here, like, you know, and it doesn't have to be that extreme, but if you have ever been experiencing abuse of any kind, yeah, these tools can really like start shifting and changing your world when you start to acknowledge that maybe like the victim side there's something else to that, and like what questions can people ask themselves also to like start being empowered. And
Yes.
as a sexual healer, if you don't acknowledge it, like for me as well,
Yes.
like I've had some pretty, like when you look back sometimes it's like, wow, that's was like a pretty abusive situations I've created, because we simply don't get that information. We don't get to ask ourselves like, hey, do you have capacities?
Yeah. Well, how often do you actually think you're fucked up? You're the fucked up one. I used to say that all the time in relationships. I'm so sorry, but I'm fucked. I'm damaged goods. Because you start to really believe, instead of like you say, it is never. Nobody ever tells you you have capacities. Period. And nobody ever tells you all the things that you think is wrong about you is actually strong about you. That, I think that came with the Global Foundation that we just had. And every capacity that you have that you don't acknowledge, you'll be at the effect of it. So what if we would never be at the effect of it and would create with your capacity?
I love, yeah, and this is like it's the same, like even like I've seen it myself as well, but I've heard it also from a lot of other people that, for example, they have like a coaching business, and then they will be like, nobody comes for coaching, and then like you're like looking actually like how many coaching sessions are you doing in your family or in your private life or with your friends, that and people are not
Oh,
paying. So if you don't acknowledge that, and I think it's
whoa.
the same like with sexual healing, if you have the capacity to heal people, and it doesn't have to be through copulation, that might be also you being so different that with being with other people you actually really create a space where they can start looking differently at things. How often will you entrain in relationships with them, and just start like creating stuff that is not necessarily creating more for you?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the tools actually that helped me tremendously with the sexual healing, to acknowledge your sexual healer without even knowing that it was that, was like these 5 questions. Um, and I would say not only if you're about to have sex with somebody, or even like when you go on a date. I've noticed I even have to ask it before I move in with someone, because when you're a sexual healer, you will most probably choose the most fucked up ones so you can heal them.
So you even mean with like people you don't have sex with, that you're just co-housing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But just to clarify, it's like Why does she go and live together and not have sex?
Yes. So, will it be fun? Will it be easy? Will I be grateful? Will she or he be grateful? Will I learn something? Will I be happier afterwards?
Will I make money as well?
Yes, that's like the one question that I think is like includes all the other five. First of all, like, will it make me money? And then if you want to have like more clarification, will it be fun? And what I've learned the hard way is, if the first one, will it be fun, is not liked, walk away.
And I love, like, so we just finished the Global Foundation with Gary and Dana. It was so interesting. Like, it was so funny for me. I laughed so hard when they said, like, if you're excited about somebody, don't bother asking questions because it's already ruined. You're already.
I think he actually said, run.
Run. Yeah, run. Don't. Yeah. It's like, what have we also like misidentified and identified that is required to actually have relationships that will work, that will not necessarily work. Maybe it will. But I'm really excited about this conversation with Simon and with all of us also to see, to change the spaces where we've been functioning from in relationship, whatever relationship it is. And I think one of the greatest things, one of the less greatest things, but most done things, is that we reduce ourselves to be in relationship, whatever relationship it is, right? How many of us actually get into relationship and are like, here I am, all of me. And even if the people around us don't receive it, we don't give up on that. I think most of us have learned, like, even before we get somewhere, to already start looking at, oh, what can I be? Is this good enough? Like, should I change myself? And already that changing on the planet.
I love that. That is actually what I have been noticing since the call has been set up. I have been receiving a lot of information. And one of the things that I've noticed is, like, if you're a humanoid, most likely you will want to make it work. And even though it's like you start to diminish parts of you, you will still try to make it work. You'll even use force to make it work. You'll judge yourself to make it work. You'll inhabit less space to make it work. And like, one of the major things that's like missing, like, you totally took out choice. Like, what if it's not about any relationship or any sex is about making it work, but what if it's always a choice?
And what can you create? And it's
yes.
where we
what do you want to create?
Where we have been buying into that creation is actually making things work.
Yeah, what if instead of like making it work, you I think this is I think I heard Shannon talk about it sometime, is like, what if you could have, like, start having copulation to open something different for all of us in the universe. I know it sounds very esoteric when I say it, but at the same time, I really like the pragmatics about it. What if it's not just like human reality, hopping like bunnies just because you can, or you feel like you want to, how do you say, distract yourself from your life, or like you want to feel good about you. What if it could be so much? What if it could be so much more? What if, and that's like, I think this is part of the title, like everywhere you have like decided what sex means. What if, I love this, what if having sex with someone or being in a relationship with someone is to a way of access all of you, and where they get to have access all of them, and where you create an opening in the universe so people can access, if they desire to access that as well.
I love this. And now if you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, I don't have that, or whatever, or the good thing with these questions is just you can just ask them, and you don't have to find an answer. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to go look for a partner. You don't have to dump the partner you have. You can just, by asking those questions, things will start opening up in a different way. Because like in the beginning, I would always start to look at, okay, so do I have to now have something or lose something or whatever, like all these considerations we go into, rather than really inviting ourselves to the pleasure of asking questions and just see what shows up. And if it didn't have to be esoterical, but it was truly a question of like, hey, how aware am I actually of everyone around me, of the planet, of the earth? How aware is my body? And how much am I connected to every single molecule? Um, Now, if I would acknowledge that with any action that I do with my body, what can I facilitate in the world? Like, even when you dance, even when you move, even when you walk, what are you coming across? Who are you coming across? And one of the things I love about one of the processes, for example, in Access, like SE, energetic synthesis of embodiment, where I saw a quote once from Susie Gotzi: if you touch a body, it changes. It's not if you try to change a body, if you touch it, it changes. And like, just to start acknowledging that and not to make it significant, not to try to get right where you can touch it to change it, but just that acknowledgement. Like, every time we touch something, it allows it to be something different. Like, even us with our space, for all of us, like, you know, and this is like something I see a lot with people that also work in care field or that kind of things. Like, we don't get to acknowledge that it's not because our licenses or because of what we do that things actually start shifting and changing, but it's our presence. It's, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a chiropractor, if you're just someone that gives massage, if you're like just a housewife, what does your presence allows to change in the world? What does your presence allows to change in the company where you work? And how much healing are you actually allowing? But if you don't acknowledge that, is that actually kind for you and your body? And can you control it, or will you always be at the effect?
Right. I just would like to add something to that, because like with when you start to like really acknowledge what capacities that you have now in regards to sexual healing, is like for example, one of the things that I started noticing with, for example, asking prices in my business with clients is like the other day I had to let go of a client who was mean and abusive. So I was like, so will this increase anything in my world, or like will this increase my receiving? And I got like a really no. So I was like, okay, let's stop this. I'm so sorry. I'm going to refund you the money. It's like how much, like even with the sexual healing, if it's not just what you do when you have sex, but what you said, like when you dance, when you give massages, like if it's a capacity, you will do it anyway. Like I love one of the memes that we made with this. It's like, are you resisting being a sexual healer? It's like, what would you have to start to, how do you say that? When you have to start, what will you have to start charging also in your business and in your life, so you get to fully receive and access your capacity that you already are, and that also that you will attract the people that will be able to receive it. Because one of the things also is like what I've noticed with sexual healing, if you're healing and somebody doesn't receive it, they will return it with daggers attached. I can promise you that. Been there, done that so many times. And you'll end up feeling fucked up afterwards. And I'm not talking like mentally, but also like I've had times where it was physically hurting in my body. And when I noticed it and I changed it, the pain was gone.
Yeah. And bodies are so quick. I love what you just said. And this is like, even like when you talk about charging and about money, it's not even, it's really about starting to ask for that and to acknowledge. Because like I've worked also a lot where, like with the body classes with people in the healthcare system and stuff, and they often have the conclusion, oh, but I can't charge more.
Yeah.
And it's just that point of view that now creates their entire reality, where I've seen a lot of them really ruin their body because like they lock themselves up with their point of views rather than asking like, oh, that's interesting. Huh. I wonder what I could start creating that would allow me actually to charge more or differently or create different possibilities. So you can, what you just said, you can just open up to the full capacities of your body. And it's never linear.
No.
It's never linear. It's never linear. And if you have no points of views, no decisions about, oh, but this is where I am right now. So that means if you would have none of that and you would just allow yourself to start looking at, oh, this actually doesn't work any longer. Now, what else is possible? If you didn't have to leave, but you would allow yourself to leave. If you didn't have to change, but it would be possible to change, where you actually start rumbling and opening up possibilities.
Totally different.
Right?
Totally
Yeah,
different than just
healing,
hopping and copulating.
yeah, sexual healing is it's such a broader concept than what I have acknowledged in my life for a long time. And I wonder where we can open up in this call tomorrow night as well for a lot of people. So you can start using your body for the joy of it and not being a slave of your capacities.
And you know what the cool thing also is about this call? It's with a male and a female who are both sexual healers, and like really you both, so you, Yasodhara, and Simon, both have been going through the ropes of it. You both have been like really seeing the effect of not acknowledging you're a sexual healer and when you are. So I'm really curious what you guys will talk about, open up. Everybody who will join the call with all of your questions, like what would you like to know? And yeah, like really what tools to, what awareness can we start accessing, and can we like start using tools to just pragmatically really create with it?
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about it. It's pragmatic. It's not airy fairy, goose, sunshine, unicorn. Although it is, because it is magic, but it's very practical.
Yeah.
And
I wonder also, because like I loved how you said like male and female. And one of the things that I've been making myself very wrong about as a woman is that I have a lot of, in this reality, male energy. And that was so often a problem in population. When I started doing Access, it was actually about, oh, but are you actually male and female, or are you an infinite being with a female body now? And now if you would start acknowledging that, who can you invite to play with, rather than looking at the stereotypical things of, oh, I'm female, I'm male, and then have to go into the wrongness because you're too male-ish and the man is too female. And like, how do you actually create with these powers to create greater and not to actually create less? So
tomorrow 12 February 7 p.m. CET, which is like Europe time.
Yeah.
And
let's change bodies, let's change realities. I'm really excited. Thank you for this chat.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for watching also. And you can still sign up. We will also do this call, like it will be translated into French, français, into Russian, Ruski, I think so, and in German, Deutsch. So you can also join us in those languages.
Ciao, bye. Let's have sex, fun sex.